It's that fella that you know from the U of K, streaming on a website called Twitch. Oh, I'm doing the classic intro again. It's the same every time. Let's jump in. I got no plan. I got no plan what we're going to do this stream. But I do know that I have this like idea with the sulfur cubes in my head that I just can't figure out. And it might mean that we jump over to a different world at some point. Who's online, by the way? Cub, no. I was gonna message Cub and False and let them know that we could potentially play some Is That Sheep Looking at Me. However, I wanna play it in a group of 3 or more, you know. So maybe not. You just watched the snapshot video. Awesome. Haunted Corpse, welcome to the stream. We will head over to the dungeon. I don't know what to call it. The music basement place and just place blocks. And maybe do something else. I don't know. Like this big grind over here, I feel like I got to get it out of the way to start doing other stuff. It's like at the back of my mind that this needs doing all the time. Do you know what I mean? Music dungeons, says Heart Gamer. Yeah, look, it's definitely a music dungeon. It's all the musicalness. Let's see what this is like down here. Oh, second time's a charm. Yeah, updated the mods. Looks like frames are much better. We're kind of at a point where we need to start doing some aesthetics here. I think we might be doing some digging next. Should we dig? Wait, is that? Yeah, it's almost dug out. I need to go a little bit higher there. What about this side? Again, a little bit higher. That side's looking good. This side's kind of done. Except for down there. Maybe we'll go build that first of all. What are y'all? Snap what? Spelling error? Notification? Why is everyone talking about notification error? Snap, like there is a lot of fast moving chat. I can't figure this out. Snap what? Everyone snap what? What are y'all on about? Spelling error. Spelling, is it the stream title? It should say there is no plan. Snap shit? What? Hang on. Oh shoot. People, the O is next to the I. I'm so sorry. I wrote that very quickly in a hurry. That's why you don't do that, I guess. Sorry. Sorry. The title is wrong. No, wait, we're not talking about the title. We're talking about the notification, right? What? Is there something wrong with the title as well? Oh, for goodness sake. The title should not say that. Yo, Chaotic, coming in for 12 months. Thank you so much, my dude. That's a whole year of Prime subbage. Indeed, Ordained Dreads. 87 months. I feel like I've heard the word ordained said a lot recently. I don't know, for some reason it started catching my ear. You know when you hear a word and then like you feel like you hear it all the time. Ordained. I kept hearing ordained recently. Like I've been listening to podcasts, I've been listening to audiobooks, and I swear that word just keeps popping up, ordained. Now that I fixed the notification, are people going to be like, do they still get the same one or do they get the new one? I don't know. 96 Cal, thank you so much for the Prime. Bear 818, thank you for 58 months. Hello gamers, says Bear. That's what Bear sounds like, by the way. Totally not trolling over here. Nothing. I wouldn't troll, would I? Yo, Santa of Scarva, thank you so much for gifting out the community subs. The hype train is now rolling. We got the Burt Potato in here for 66 months as well. Thank you so much. I need more scaffolding than I have. Now you know X's feelings about the latest snapshot. It's just an unfortunate accident. I like the latest snapshot. You know, it was clearly just a technical one, right? Like, with some obviously needed changes and fixes for the very recent content. I was initially quite excited to see some stuff we haven't seen hidden, like revealed yet. You know, because they're not. We haven't seen the whole update. I bet you there's going to be more stuff. That's how it always works. Usually they start rolling it out straight away, but you can see they've got some technical priorities this time. So we're getting all of that other stuff. Now I'm going to make some redstone torch. It's very hard to stay on topic here with all the stuff going on. Even Ark, thank you so much for 4 months in a row. Semester, thank you for subscribing. We also got Noah Parks here, 80 streams in a row. How cool is that? We got level 3 of the hype train at the moment. We've got to play the animations. Onky Donkey says, what you working on? Well, I'm working on the master music system, the MMS for short. My mind just asked itself a question, and I will share it with you. Is there an abbreviation that's actually like longer to say than the actual words? Probably not. Is there a letter that is long to pronounce? No, this is such a dumb idea. I don't know why my brain even thought of that. Wait, I need a lot more than that. What am I thinking here? We're building a mega contraption over here. Yeah, my brain likes to embarrass itself, I think. Let's see. Noises. Your local Chaos Gremlin, thank you for 15 streams. Elias, thank you for 20. Phoenix, thank you for 60. And Becca, thank you for gifting a sub to Anti-Brint. Master Music System, MMM. Like Eminem. We could call it Slim Shady. Oh. We're just building Slim Shady. That's not confusing at all, is it? What a roundabout way to get to the master. What was it? The Master Music Machine. I love that. MMM. Like the rapper. I don't know. There's all sorts of jokes you can make there, right? Oh, we should probably put those in at the same time. I really need some more scaffolding. There's no doubt about it. What annoys me is that, like, you have to hold shift to place it on the side. That means you've got to come off the scaffolding. You know, I want to stay on the scaffolding. And you are just in the wrong spot. Well done, me placing it in the wrong spot. That's how that goes. All right. Level 3. There it is. Angry Redstone. Thank you for 5 months. Appreciate you, my dude. It's 8 months. Ah, well, you know, I read the wrong number. It's a 50-50 with Twitch these days. I might read the wrong number. I might read the right number. You're hungry for M&Ms? Ugh. I don't like candy. Just saying. Yo, Anonymous Gifter! Thank you for gifting a sub to JMax720. Well deserved. JMax's been around here for a long time. Long time. Just so you know, the notification this streamed is misspelled in an unfortunate way. Hey, it's Jada. Hey, where were you when everyone else was typing in all caps and just using like one word like snap what? I mean, an actual explanation. Thank you for being so diligent and expressive and communicative. I'm trying to use big words. Yo, we just reached Hype Train level 4. Semeister, thank you for gifting out a community sub. By the way, all community subs get access to our Minecraft Let's Play Together server. If it is on this update and Rainbow is around to share with us coordinates, we may visit it today. But we need Rainbow and we need updates in order for that to happen. Winthread, thank you so much for the Prime. And Northern Rose, thank you for 5 months. The title caught your attention. Okay. Shiny Object, thank you for 10 months. Appreciate it. Seems I'm impersonating Scar today. How so? How so? That requires some explanation. Okay, let's put... That's there, and then on the back of it, that. Yep. We'll change it all to slabs. By the way, we're listening to some Orang today. I was chatting to Orang recently. I'm not going to say what about, because when if they make an announcement or something, then I can talk about it. But I have no idea if it's something I can just talk about or not. Anyway, been chatting with Orang. What a great reminder to listen to some classic Orang again. Love this music. It's beautiful stuff. Music details not on the screen. Becca, thank you for telling me. That is because I have to do one additional step to get it to appear. It's not automated. And I've done a pretty good job of remembering that, but not today. Not when it counts. Well, it should always count, shouldn't it? Should always count. Because I want to support musicians. And I can do that by simply giving them a little bit of attention here for those listening to the background music. Yo, we got Blue Raven here. 5 streams in a row. Thank you, Blue. Welcome to another one. Hope you enjoy it. Right, a little bit of concentration required. Now it's comparators and redstone. Gonna need a lot more than that. I need to drink some of this tea. How long have we been streaming? 11 minutes. It's going to be cold. You came for snap poop content. Ah. I'm sorry, that was just a typo. It was just a typo. I'm letting you down. Airwave 20, thank you for gifting out a community sub. Let me play the animation. I love the animation. We love the animations around here. What happened with the little timer that was in the corner before? I did away with it. I started simplifying things because every now and then stuff breaks. And over time, I've gotten less and less interested in doing a bunch of technical stuff on the computer, you know? That being said, I think I want to get a new computer to move away from Windows. I am continually unimpressed by these AI slop-coded updates that they're dropping. It just feels like every update there's some disastrous story about how people are having crazy issues with their computers and systems. And I've kind of wanted to get away from Windows for some time. There's a lot of things about Linux that I really like. So I kind of feel like it's been getting there for a while, and now all this like AI slop update stuff just makes it feel like they're like pushing me, you know? It's like Microsoft they're like pushing me off the edge. Go use Linux. We're awful. You know we're awful. Kythex says try using Linux, man. Super user friendly. I wouldn't describe it as super user friendly. That's not my experience of it. What I've learned about it is it's much smarter and well put together than you would think, right? But I wouldn't say that comes from a user friendly place. That comes from like a tech enthusiast place. You've got to remember, Windows is kind of in some ways very plug and play and let's go and easy for anyone to use, and Linux doesn't feel like that. There might be parts of it that are, but it's sort of hard to know where to go to do stuff on there. Like you install apps and programs through a terminal, which I had to do on Windows recently, and it's like, it's kind of brilliant when you just type in a command line and it installs something. But then, how do you know what the heck to type into the command prompt to begin with? So, you know, I think I want to do that. I think I want to learn. And eBrint is in the same lane. So, Auntie, if you're thinking of making the switch, here's what I've been realizing I got to do. Oh, by the way, Hype Train reached level 5. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoy the animations. Appreciate the support. We had lots of gifted subs. Also, Angel Lizzie's here for 5 streams in a row. Thank you. Welcome back. Oh, Bedrock MC doesn't work on Linux at all. You see, this is the thing, right? I was about to say, I'm going to steadily build up a list of apps that I use and things that I do where I have to think about how do I do this on Linux. Fortunately, a fair amount of stuff that I do has an equivalent or the same thing works on Linux. But I need to build up a list because then when it's like Bedrock doesn't work, it's like, what's the solution? Do I run a virtual machine with Windows on it? I think for using Bedrock, that might work. For other stuff that needs to be more ever-present and integrated, it might not. Is there a way to look inside of this barrel? Because I need to know what its signal strength is next. How do I open the options for this mod? That's rendering. Oh, it's just that button. Okay. Let's see. So it's going to be a hotkey, right? I think they call them containers. Nope. Content? No, well, that's kind of the same thing. Inside? Look inside? I don't know. Ha! Linux is a nightmare. If you aren't adept at coding, avoid at all costs. See, very, very, like, different from the other message that we read. Angry Redstone says you can use Proton. Games work basically the same as on Windows. Yeah, Proton was developed by Steam, right? You've got a dual boot so you can do Windows and do other work on Linux. Yeah, I'm not too keen on a dual boot setup. It'll be more like I'll use my current machine as a fallback machine for when I need to do Windows related stuff, but like I don't want to constantly be doing stuff on both. If it turns out there's like a small amount of stuff, then it might work. Okay, chat, where are you? I'm looking for someone to explain. Well, I mean, we're all talking Linux and Windows. Where do I go in here to find the hotkey? Maybe it's not a hotkey. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. Okay, container isn't... What's the other word for it? Container inventory, maybe? Okay, nothing there. Let's check this one for inventory. Nothing there. Anyone know? Or am I just talking to myself? Fluid targets. Maybe it's something that's like set to false or doesn't have a hotkey yet as well. You're on your own there, bud. Sorry, X, no idea. Use the search function at the top to find stuff. That's kind of what I'm doing, right? GUI. GUI might be what we're looking for. Material list placement, schematic, selection manager settings. None of those. Apparently we've got a pinned message on chat. I can't actually see what the pinned message is. Just so you know, chat. Get better at searching, Dart. Okay, I get the impression no one in chat knows. So, I guess a quick look in the other world wouldn't be a bad idea. So much for using the mod. Over here. So over here, they are that many. Which one were we doing, actually? We were doing this one over here. Yeah, I've come to the right spot. Oh, it's full. It's completely full. And then you got subtract mode. Right. Okay, brilliant. Brilliant. That's nice and easy. So behind there, what I actually need is just one of these. Oh, sounds, noises in your eardrums. I mean, that's what this thing is for, right? Very good. One at the top next. And then it's mostly done. Take a screenshot, X. I don't need a screenshot for full signal strength. I don't need it for that. Okay, so that's kind of like pretty much most of this done. Press the free cam button. So like this side of the contraption here is looking pretty nifty. I think we're doing digging next. I think we're doing digging. What are you looking for? You got distracted by the Linux chat. I mean, we can go back to Linux now, right? The other thing I really want to do is look up like all the smart things you can do with Linux. Like I like the sound of these containerized environments where you can kind of keep stuff in a deployable container. Like I use portable apps on here so that when I run a backup, I back up the apps that are portable. This is like really great because when you reinstall Windows, every now and then you have some sort of issue, you have to go reinstall. You don't have to reinstall the programs because you portabled them, and that means they're a part of your backup system. So they just get backed up, and then when you move to a new system, they just work like they did before. All the settings and all that kind of stuff, it's all configured and saved. Because a lot of the way Windows works is just stuff's a mess. Stuff's just all over the place. Configuration files, save games, all these things. They're just here, there, and everywhere. And if you want to be organized and have stuff backed up, you know, when you go to do that system reinstall or whatever, Windows is just like a nightmare to find everything. Feels like. Okay, I think we want to go about as high as this bit here. As you can see, we've got pistons here, so maybe a little bit higher. So it's just me and Fulson. Maybe the three of us could play Is That Sheep Looking at Me? For Linux, if you have a separate home partition, generally you can do a reinstall and just reuse that. Yeah, I've been told that like Linux is much easier to like upgrade and reinstall and fix and stuff like that. Block overlay info says Kichiro? Is that whoopsie. Is Stan the sheep looking at me? I won't bother with my goofy sense of humor. How's the heat wave? Hope everything's cooled down. Yeah, we're no longer in a heat wave. That's passed. We can't have beef screaming, is that sheep looking at me? I kid, of course. Let the baby sleep. In Linux, there is a set method and way to do everything, and when companies don't follow it, they tend to get complaints. Interesting. Oh wait, look at this. We need to go one higher than that as well. Because there'll be a layer of repeaters right there. Well, we kind of know we're going all the way across now. Let's turn that off. I could do with my ender chest. Did I put it down somewhere and leave it there? All unorganized and such. So we'll slap that back and take this. Do you know what I sort of like lost the habit of doing a little bit lately is using bundles. Like they can be pretty nifty for picking up some odd bits and bobs, right? I mean, that's what they're for. That's kind of what they were designed for, X, you know? You're using them as intended. Beef go bah! Howdy X, just watched the snapshot video, well done, says thank you. Hedy. Thanks. Thanks for the congratulations. It felt like a very like efficient, well put together video. Sometimes when I record, I just stumble over my words, take forever, and get slowed down, and I feel like, oh god, I'm so useless. Today was just a very like on point, sharp kind of record and edit for me. which I like. I want to be in that mind state more, you know. I've been in that mind state for a little while, actually. I recorded some Xisuma Says content, got some other work done. I don't know, just stuff's been clicking lately. I was the bundle guy? I know, right? Powerballs was listening to Soulside Eclipse an hour ago. Forgot how dark it is. It goes dark, my dude. It goes dark and heavy. They heard a complaint about Joel's rainbow and addressed it immediately. I tell you what, I did the test, and it seems like that's not really an issue anymore. At least for my computer. Like, I remember that was a real easy way to make the game lag at one point in time. But Mojang have just been consistently optimizing this game for such a long time now. It is no surprise to go test something like that again and find out it's not a bother. I even remember like some old myth busting videos where we used to put lots of hoppers in the world, and then you'd put like furnaces on top of them or something, and then all of a sudden the games run faster. And like now you do these tests and it's just like it's not an issue anymore. Mojang have done a great job, I think, with the optimization. You've hit flow state, says Inkblot. It does feel like that a fair bit lately. Like I've been hitting that old flow. Right, there we go. Cleared out a bit of space there. So now down at this level, we want to go... In fact, we're right under that. I might as well just go line up with what I've already dug out down there and bring it to the same spot. Before I dig down, though, I want to make all of this ceiling stone. Do I have any torches? I do in here. Oh my god, look at that. That's so annoying. Let's go into the mod menu. I've noticed that this update, loads of mods have been losing their configuration. I don't even remember all of this. So like scroll mode is vanilla. Interesting. Yeah, not really sure what this is at all. I have a feeling it might be something else causing that issue. Why was that one so bad? Like this one here isn't. Maybe it's because I've used up more slots. I think there's an error going on somewhere there. It didn't sound like a configuration option. There's just some funkiness going on. Right, so that bit there is straight down. Therefore, let's turn off the rendering and make sure this is all stone over here. What are you people talking about? Oh, what? Why are you people? I get it. Yeah, like half of chat is talking about operating systems and the other half of chat is confused. Anyway, I really want to make the switch, but it's not going to be a straightforward thing. It's going to take time and a lot of planning and learning. But I think it'll be worth it. Probably because you have stackable blocks in one, so less slots are available. Yeah. But like the bug though, why is the bug happening? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm more concerned about. It's the bug that's the bother. From windows to weather, huh? Well, if you look out your window, you can see the weather, so it's not too much of a stretch. K. I need to drop some stuff off in a shulker box, basically. Stone over here. Redstone clearly belongs in... they're rockets. Redstone belongs in this one. Along with target blocks and building blocks. Yeah, that'll do. Let's eat some food as well. You like to talk about Linux and spread the gospel. Awesome, awesome. Hey, look, as like a YouTuber guy, like people like to help me. I've noticed when I have issues with stuff, and like moving to Linux, I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So, you know, if anyone wants to help, I'd really appreciate that. Rockets are clearly a redstone block. They are red. Are they a block? Rockets are not a block. In my opinion, they're an item. Oh, look what I did to you there. Look what I did to you. You were just trying to help out. Why is there like a random deep slate block there? What is it random? Is it part of a... That's really odd. I wonder if someone broke that and just decided to... Wait a minute, that's too deep. That's really odd. I don't get that. I don't know why that's there. I'm confused. Like always. Your suggestion is SteamOS. I already have SteamOS on my Steam Deck, and I'm not sure if that's the best option for me. I really need to look into it. SteamOS is for gamers, and I'm not really a gamer, so... by the way, that's the other thing I should mention. It will be more for work, this new system, because I would keep the current one I've got for making music. So, like, I can't help but feel trying to get all my stuff to work on Linux, all the musical stuff, would be a legitimate nightmare. That's where, like, I have the most questions about getting all the plugins and software to work. I just have so little knowledge or experience with it. So, yeah, this would be like a work computer, and I like the idea of maybe trying to separate my work and music environments a bit. Why Linux? Because Linux is kind of awesome, but also Windows is getting really bad with all the vibe coded updates they're doing at the moment. I do wonder, is it a case of like every time they push out an update, some people have like a really calamitous issue just by the nature of like computer code and giving it to large numbers of people, right? So then with everyone thinking and talking about AI all the time, any little issue, big or small, that's related to an update that they've coded with AI gets more attention. Is there that to consider as well? If there is or there isn't, I kind of just like the idea of getting away from Windows anyway. Linux is more punk, you know what I mean? X, do you have any metal artist recommendations? You'll be getting into poppy and baby metal, and you're interested in finding some more. Listen to Slipknot, listen to Korn, listen to Linkin Park. I don't know, like if you know those are the big names, right? Or if you're just starting out and baby metal and poppy are like the first things you listen to. Windows 11 quality has indeed fallen, and AI is probably to blame given Microsoft internal push of it. Yeah. It feels weird to me that they would push it so hard with bad results. Like internally. I don't know. Like, I know they're trying to build hype and stuff, but if it's not working in-house, like, who's going to follow your lead if it's not going that well? See, it seems to me like they should be trying to push other people to use it and figure out, and not ruin their product. It's funny. It's not the first time. Like Microsoft Bob, for example. What's Microsoft Bob? I remember Paperclip being Clippy being super annoying. I think I'm just gonna dig this all the way down here. That's the way I'll deal with that. One thing you can be sure about Linux, everyone will believe their distro is the choice is the best. It's that typical thing of like, if you're encountering people that talk like that, that's like a bit of a red flag, right? Because something like, you know, if someone says, what guitar should I get, to me, I can't tell you, get an Ibanez, it's the best guitar for you, because I know what guitars are and what music is, and it's like, there are different types for different types of playing and different types of sounds. You have to tell me what type of sound you're after for me to tell you what, you know. It's like someone might tell you like, oh, tails, get tails. And it's like, I'm not trying to be super unbelievably secure and erase every single possible record of anything I've ever done on a computer. Like, it's, you know, different Linux distros serve different purposes. So if you got someone gung-ho about their OS without asking you what you're looking for, that's like, you know, that's the red flag, right? You missed when Windows was good, Windows XP. And Windows XP was a fun time. It was colorful. There was a little bit of that like noughties optimism going around. Was the noughties optimistic? It feels like the generations get more pessimistic with time. There was definitely a optimism in the 90s, that's for sure. And having recently been to Berlin, I'm reminded of why. Like the Berlin Wall fell at the end of the 80s, right? Like the 90s was the decade where capitalism had won and everything's good in the world now. Like that, you can feel that vibe in 90s mainstream culture, in the movies. There's a little bit of it in the music. Windows 7 was peak Windows. It went downhill from there. Windows 7 was okay. To be fair though, in my experience, like Windows, people forget how much it used to crash. When I had Windows 98, that thing would crash like every time you ran it. Like you couldn't use the computer for more than a few hours without it crashing. Similar story with XP, right? It was a little bit better though. Millennium Edition was quite stable. I remember that. Windows XP was a bit crashy, and then like Windows 7 sort of felt like the crashing issues were starting to disappear, and Windows 10 and 11 for me, very little crashing, like quite stable long term. Still get issues every now and then, and sometimes when it crashes, like it did when I was streaming the other day, like somehow it still kept streaming and came back up. Like I actually think they're more stable than ever. We kind of take for granted certain aspects. What's worse today is all that like AI push integration, automatic updates. There's like aspects of it that are poorer, but we forget about the stability. The operating system is really stable in my experience. Maybe the average person's hardware tells a different story, but on this computer, I mean, I remember some old computers I had where like I think it was like Windows 98, and I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon and listen to Limp Bizkit and Wu-Tang Clan, and I'd be doing all of that, and then bam, it would just crash, and I'd be like, oh, not again. I'd lose all my progress on my park and have to like reload it, do it again, and it crashed again in a couple of hours. But you know, disk fragmentation, that used to be a thing. They solved that eventually. Windows 3.1 was great. Imagine going back to that. I don't remember 3.1 crashing, by the way. Like 3.11 even I had as a kid. I don't remember that crashing. Maybe it was just too simple for that. Wu-Tango now. Yeah, Wu-Tango forever, yo. DJ Eccles, thank you ever so much for 90 months. Getting closer to that dungeon. We got Molly Palp here for 9 months. Twitch baby in the chat. Welcome to the stream. You saw that the video is out. Awesome. Yeah. The video is out. And thus, I am here on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday. I think we need to go get some rockets. I think we need to drop off some supplies and then continue digging. So far, thank you for 5 streams in a row. Your comfort streamer is comforting. Oh. Glad to help somehow. Tuesday, innit? Yeah, it's Tuesday. National Chewing Day. Get out your toffees, mate. Get out your toffee, get out your fudge. It's Tuesday. New skin? No, I've always had this skin forever. They copied me. They went, oh, look at Xisuma. He bounces around and consumes blocks to change his bounciness. Let's make a Minecraft mob out of it. Oh, those Mojangsters just thieving my skin and my natural characteristics of inside the sandbox game. Oh, how dare they. How rude. How rude! Okay, let's do that over there. This in here. A little derpling containing some tough bricks, I see. Let's go get let's get the food. Let's get the rockets. If we had any other hermits log, it's just me and False. Just me and False. Your first PC didn't have speakers with sound cards. You remember your dad gave you a single speaker for it. Even at the time, it was archaic with mono. Some of those like Sound Blaster card computers had like used to use the motherboard had like a little chirping sound thing that it used to use to let you know like the computer's doing stuff. And then programmers would like manipulate that to create some very basic audio sounds for games like that. That's like pre-speakers. Like your computer can make a blipping noise. You think you have toffee in your fridge? Hold up. What are my tips for staying productive? Interesting. I think having a plan is important. And being disciplined, like if you're in a motivated state of mind, that helps. But when you're not motivated, like you need to stay focused with the bigger picture and do things regardless of how you feel to be productive. You also got to ask yourself the question, like, is productivity the goal? Is that what you're really after? Okay, I think we're going to have some rendering issues again. Oh no, we're back. I've noticed the frame's getting a bit dippy. I think we need to go down one more layer here. Then we can start building some more redstone. Oh my gosh, we are making progress. But yeah, like being productive is an interesting thing. I as a creator went through a years-long, maybe even a decade-long period of like absolutely going gung-ho on YouTube and like just doing it 24/7. That came from like both passion and discipline. I had a vision of like, hey, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Basically, you're at the beginning of something like this YouTube thing. People don't know about it yet. Like, make the most of this. This could be an amazing thing. I don't think that energy can last forever. So if you want to be like really productive and get a lot done with your time, I think you know the incentives have to align. And then if they do, if you've got the right questions underpinning it, I think moving in that direction will be good. And then it's about like having a plan, being organized, keeping track of what you need to do, and just having your priorities on a list so that you can just do what needs to be done. Like I always have a to-do list. I have a series of small to-do lists every day, and then I have a just generalized to-do list. I have a calendar where I put things I need to do in the future on it. And this is all about just making sure there's always that moment in the day to go, like, okay, now's time for getting stuff done. What needs to be done? Something on my phone. I've got, like, right now on my phone, I've got, let's pull it out of my pocket. After this stream, I got to sort out a little something on Discord. I need to cut my nails. Yeah, I write that down. I have a bad habit of, like, pinching my nails together. So, like, as soon as I start doing it too much in a day, that's my cue to cut my nails. And I got to do some prep stuff for tomorrow. So like that's all there. And then if I feel like doing more, I have another to-do list somewhere else with the big stuff, like sort out fixing my television, sort out fixing my treadmill. A lot of that stuff is slowly getting done. And then on the calendar, it's the big stuff that's like way off in the future. Like I think in a week or two, I got to ring up and sort some stuff out for a holiday, right? It's always there. It's always planned. I'm not going to allow myself to forget about it. These are all the things that I am prioritizing in life, right? And that's kind of like leads to being productive because I'm organized about it, and then I go and do it. And another big factor, motivation is not why you should do stuff. Motivation comes and goes. You should be able to sit down, rationalize, hey, this thing right here, this is super important. Maybe it's studying for school, right? You need to be able to go, I'm putting my duty to study on this list because it's that important. I must do it. And then, like, you know, when the time comes to do it, you crack on with it. Don't wait to be motivated. That'll never come around. It's too convenient to be motivated. Let's have a look. Okay, you have ADHD and your to-do lists are just a terrifying nope. So, like, the to-do list idea can be, you can have a bad relationship with it. I do at times. When you're having a bad relationship with it, you need to, like, step back and just remind yourself, if this is not working right now, that's okay as well. But you want to be able to come to it and just remind yourself, just one thing at a time. Because if you've got ADHD, what you're probably going to be doing is jumping around a lot. You're going to start trying to do multiple things, and that's not the way to do it. You know, focusing on one thing at a time is always so much more effective than jumping around. Like, the jumping around, you're just distracting yourself. Becca says, multitasking me? Never. LaMayo. Just experiment sometime. Just, like, try and learn. Try and find out what happens when you do just do one thing at a time. Because I think a while back I started getting quite like that. Just constantly trying to do too much stuff at one time. And I had to reel it in a bit. And since I've done that, like, all of a sudden I'm productive again. It's like I'm actually getting stuff done. Because I'm not trying to do it all at once. I'm just chipping away and focusing on the one thing. You don't have to spend all day chipping away. You just spend a little bit of time chipping away. And if you've got the energy to chip away a bit more, you chip away a bit more, and then maybe it becomes a bit much. All right, that's it. I'm done for today. You know, and then slowly with time, your little to-do list, it shrinks away. Right, what I probably need is a little bit of fuel. I'm gonna go get some coal, I think. Becca says, I'm always doing about 7 things at a time. So do an experiment and bring it down to like 2 or 1, you know? Because multitasking is a bit of a spell. It sort of feels good. It feels like you're doing stuff, but you're kind of not. Because every time you have to turn your attention to the other thing, you're forgetting what it was you were doing. It's harder to pick up from where you left. Bell Steven, by the way, thank you so much for 49 months with the Prime. Guess I should share this, huh? Prime doing its thing again. Yep, if you want to resub with the Prime, you're more than welcome to. Thank you for doing that, my dude. Let's get a little bit of coal from here. Let's break this one up. I got a feeling that my tool chest is somewhere else. Oh no, it's actually here. It's actually where it should be. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, you shall go in here. Like, the other thing, I see ADHD coming up a lot in chat. I've never really identified with ADHD as described by most times I've heard it. Until I took a real like interest in trying to figure out if maybe I have it or not, and I found someone discussing it in a little bit of a different way that made me feel like, actually, is ADHD quite a broad thing? It's not so much a specific this or that. It's more like a spectrum, right? But it got me thinking just about my own relationship to attention and the way I treat certain things. And, you know, I don't know if I have it or not. But it highlighted something in myself which I think is that, like, multitasking trap. And so I've been doing things lately where I'm noticing how I'm just fracturing up my attention a lot. Like, and devices do this a lot. This is why there's probably a rise in ADHD. There's always this device that can offer you something distracting. You know, there can always be, for me, music playing's never a problem, but like you can put a video on while you're doing something else, and you end up just like juggling mentally a bunch of things, and it's not that pleasant. So I've been trying to like step back from that and just keep things simpler, you know? So like if I'm editing a video, that's pretty much all I'm doing now. Whereas before, I might have like put on a video on the side. So I'm like watching something while I'm in, and it just makes both things pants, you know. Now I keep having to skip back on my edit, and I'm not really following along with that video. So for me, my thing I've been doing lately is just like focusing more and getting out of that like space where lots of stuff is going on at once, because it just doesn't work. Dang it, I was supposed to get, I mean, I got most of the way there, and then I flew away without picking up more of these. Fortunately, we got some over here to keep us going. But that was the whole point. Hey X, how you doing today? So glad I caught you live. This Caesar. Good to have you in. 68 months, that's amazing. Thank you for continuing your support. I hope you're entertained. What's next, people? What's next? I don't know what to talk about next. What questions do you have? What's going on in the world? You been enjoying the World Cup? God, the last couple of knockout games. Dang. Those penalty shootouts, man. The Netherlands, Germany, two big teams. They're out. They are out. And oh man, I love the spirit of the World Cup. Like, I kind of wish I could be somewhere like taking it in a bit more. But like, I'm not gonna. Well, you know, like flying out to America or whatever is a bit ridiculous. But like, when you see the atmosphere inside of those stadiums, like, oh my god, there's such a good vibe. There's so much like celebration, and passion for the sport, and for like the occasion. I'm absolutely loving it. I just think it's great. It kind of happens every World Cup. Like, the World Cup is magic, and every time it comes around, I'm always like, not that interested, whatever. And then bam, it's happening, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so great. BDC says, come on over, X. I tell you what, I saw something that might lure me over to America. But I don't want to travel alone, and I can't think of anyone who will probably do this with me. But Anders Kolsefny is doing MFKR shows in America now, and like, there's one on the East Coast, and it's at like this Pain Face festival, and I was like, oh my god, like, what if I did it? Like, just, you know, get on a plane and go. Crazy. It's disappointing seeing Germany doing so bad. We're a really strong nation usually, says Shrobby. You are. Like, I said it the other day, like, Germany would have been one of my picks, one of the first teams that come to mind. Like, Argentina maybe up there as well. How the heck this happened? That next to that. But like, that's football, man. Like, that's football. Basically. What else are we going to need over there? Traveling alone is best, I think. You don't have to wait for anyone else, and you can go wherever and whatever you want, says Powerballs. Yeah, I kind of need to keep nudging myself along. I went for a little trip the other day by myself, just around the local UK area. I want to do some traveling a little bit further, maybe go abroad. Like, I got to warm myself up to it a bit. But yeah, but you know, the other thing is, like, with traveling with people though, you have a little sense of security. Like, other people know what you're up to, know what's going on. Because, you know, I go abroad, it's not that I feel uncomfortable so much, but, you know, you are in a foreign place, you know, and things feel like, you know, they could be different if stuff goes south. You're not quite sure what to do. It's a lot of, like, maybe it's all just a worrying mind more than anything, you know? X, I recently joined LPMT4 and it's so fun. Everyone there's so nice and welcoming, says Bonksy. That's awesome, my dude. Thanks for joining our wonderful community. I love the story of Scotland and them not being in a World Cup for 28 years. Wish they could have won it. Yeah, like, by the time we get to the final game, it's going to be two of the favourites, most likely. The underdog story, I feel like, happens less and less these days, but, you know, I would have loved to have seen that too. I would have loved to have seen it, but I don't know, I don't know who the biggest underdog who could possibly win it is. Like, maybe England, because we never win it, right? But I don't think we're going to win it. I mean, I love to sing football's coming home, but I never believe it. I think we're just cursed to, like, never win a World Cup again. Just have the one. Who else feels like that, if you're English? Do you feel like we're just cursed? That's the whole point? Like, it's not actually going to come home? We just sing it anyway? Brazil are normally quite a strong team, but they seem to struggle against Japan, says Nightcrawler. Brazil have struggled a fair bit in recent competitions. Remember, they got thrashed by Germany. Like, in a really, really bad way. I don't know how much of that goes away over, what was that, 8 years ago? And, like, managers change and players change. It's always curious to me how, like, World Cup teams are a group of players that have not had a whole season of football together. You know? So, like, the whole tactics and the way things come together is quite different in some ways. Right, I'm not sure if I got the observers for this next bit. Ah, yeah, sports ball! I know little about the sports ball. Yeah. Sports ball. You've never watched FIFA ever? Well, hey, the World Cup's on now. Great opportunity to tune in. 2014. That's the one. So that's actually like 12 years ago. Dang. I think that's when Germany went on to win it. Because I remember Doc posting a video of him like going around the streets of Germany showing all the celebrations. Right, so it looks like we've got to go craft up some observers next, right? Get a couple of stacks of those together. Ugh. What music disc is that? That's one for Scar. Whenever Scar's on the server, I want to give him his music disc. Brazil's been watched ever since the game against Germany. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen them play that much, but if you say so. Becca says, no, we're going to win this time for sure. I mean, I'd love it if we did. Here's the thing. If England won it, right, I reckon we would wake up to, like, scenes of London burning. Honestly. I would not be surprised if we woke up to, like, riots across the nation and just, like, massive groups of lager louts are just out there wrecking everything in sight, going, it's coming home. That's what I expect to happen if England wins the World Cup. We will just trash our own country. It's so predictable. Right, that's the right amount of that. You think Canada are going to win? You got the home advantage. You got the home advantage. The Netherlands does that every year, no matter what the outcome. Dang. You know, I think the commonality is often drinking culture. Like, whenever there's, like, reckless destruction of property, it seems to go hand in hand with alcohol, does it not? Like, alcohol is a huge cost opportunity that we've cast upon ourselves. Like, if alcohol weren't so prevalent, I'm pretty sure we'd be 100 years along. You know, we'll be on Mars by now, with an added chorus of Vindaloo, 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 no, no. We're gonna score more goals than you. Is that how it goes? Is that how it actually goes? It's got something to do with scoring a goal. You kind of want Japan to win. Aren't they out? Aren't they out? Didn't Japan get knocked out? You've recently been watching clips on YouTube of the 1998 to 2002 soccer, France versus Brazil, Roberto Carlos, the real Ronaldo, Zidane. Yeah, I mean, that's a great era of football. I mean, a lot of them are pretty great. Like, all football has its greats, you know. Yeah, there's enough football to go around that, like, there'll always be great players. Do you know what I mean? So you go back and look at the best of an era. There's not going to be an era where it's like, oh my god, no one could play. Unless you go really far back. You go watch some football from like the 1920s or something. It does look very different. It's like you might see someone smoking a pipe in the middle of the game. You're going to be honest, you don't really care much for sports. You usually spend your time playing lots of Street Fighter and Trackmania. It's Jack Crisps. Well, think about something like Street Fighter. That's all about, in a way, about human physical prowess, like MMA and martial arts and fighting. Like that's all about like the body and pushing it to its limits, right? And that's what I see in sports. What I find incredible about sports is just like this is like peak athleticism. And with football, you have peak athleticism with skill, your ability to control the ball, you know, in an instant as well. It just, you watch how some of these players control football. It's incredible. And then there's strategy. There's like a layer of team play and strategy and tactics, and like all of that together just makes for such an entertaining sport. It's not crisps. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really want to encourage more people to like be into sports, because it's like it's active, it's outdoorsy, it's about, you know, using your body, and obviously participating in sports will help you keep in shape and energetic and healthy and all that stuff. Like I love it for lots of different reasons, I guess. I just see it as kind of like a big positive to be doing stuff like that. The sports I do though, they're not like that kind of thing, right? Competitive, team-based sports. I just do stuff to keep in shape. My mum asked me what's the first thing I'd do if I were able to walk again. I told her go for a run, and she just couldn't understand why. Dang, I know, like some people don't get it. Some people don't get that doing exercise like makes you feel good. The unfortunate thing is if you don't do it on a regular basis, if you're out of shape, it feels like pretty darn rotten to get started. But like once you exercise on a regular basis, you feel good on a regular basis. Like running is lovely. I've been really looking forward to the running I've been doing lately. When I got back from Germany, I did 40 minutes. Sunday I did 45. I'm going to go for a run tomorrow. I think I'm just going to aim for 40-45 again. I'm very like hesitant to push my body too much, so I'll see how it goes. Because with only 2 days rest, I don't want to go too hard, you know what I mean? Like I want to build up gradually over time. So 40 to 45 minutes will be a really good second run. And then if I go for a run on Sunday, there's like an extra day rest, so maybe I'll try 45-50, something like that. But not trying to overdo it too quick, you know what I mean? It's good X doesn't proofread his notification messages before sending them out. Usually I'm like writing them and, you know, just checking and then sending. But today I was just like, it wasn't that I was in a rush to start. I just really wanted to start, and I was all like, let's get going. I've been a bit like that for a few days now, because I've just been on a bit of like a streak of getting stuff done. Like the to-do list has really shrunk, and I've done like some extra projects and been very productive, and yeah, just sort of in that flow. You don't really like doing competitive sports, you're just here for the love of the game. That's fair enough. Oh, you miss sports so much, but sadly your schedule doesn't allow it anymore. I don't like going to the gym, but you love sports. Yeah, hopefully you can find a way back into it. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but yeah. Like, I think if I weren't a gym person, it would just, I'd be doing sports, you know? Like, you just find something that works for you. But I picked up an injury recently, and like I haven't been able to train properly for like well over a week, and then yesterday and today I got to start going at it again, and God, I miss it. Like, I just want to do this for the rest of my life, just continuously every day do something. Just keeps you feeling good. I think I'm gonna have to dig away more of this right here. What happened to my pick? Wait, where the heck is my pick? Where the heck is my pick? Did I put it in here? I think I might know where it is, but I'm kind of hoping I didn't accidentally spit it on the ground somewhere. I probably would have spotted that happening. Therefore, I think I know where it might be. Let's go look for it. Ugh, landed. Did it break? No chance, no chance. Bell Steven here, gifting out some subs. Thank you so much, my dude. Peeps, come back to the chat, have a little read, see if your name is there, and say thank you. Appreciate that ever so much. Peeps, a sub gets you access to our Let's Play Minecraft Together Minecraft server. Ask in chat if you're interested. Okay, it's not here. I thought because I saw chicken there, I kind of thought, well, maybe I swapped it with that. It's not there. Oh my goodness me, where is it? Where the heck is it? Majobo, thank you so much for using the Prime and supporting. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you so much. Is it possible that I put it back into there? I mean, because I got that other pick, right? That's fortune. I've got an extra silk touch right here. Maybe just upgrade that and crack on. Where the heck is it? Do you have the mod that swaps items into shulkers? I do. Well done. Well done. I don't know how it ended up. Oh, wait. I do. I know exactly how it did. Yep. Okay. Did you see it disappear? It's because the hotkey for free cam is the same as the hotkey for the item swapper mod. So some new features were introduced. Let's go have a look. Item swapper. And I just randomly... Actually, I don't think you go here for it. I think you go into here. I just randomly gave it some keys. I didn't know which ones. I thought I'll use that at some point. Look, here you go. Store away. So let's try the ones below. Nope, that one's conflicting. What about these two? There we go. So you got restock and store away. And... you know, I've completely forgotten that they're here, but we could potentially use them. It means that stuff in the shulker boxes can be sent into here. But store away is kind of handy. Like, I can store away junk off of my hotbar. I just got to remember to use it and start implementing it. Let's grab some of these blocks while we're here. Yeah, don't want to forget these. Blame the mods. I blame the overlapping of the hotkeys. Personally, always use F2 for free cam. Is F2 assigned to anything? Screenshot. That wouldn't work. Xisuma, how do you feel that Minecraft private servers are trying to be considered criminal? I think they should try harder, so they're not just being considered. So then people are like, no, those Minecraft servers that are trying really hard to be criminal, they're definitely criminal. They're definitely... Why are they trying to be criminal, man? You know, our Minecraft server doesn't try and be criminal. Or do they? Maybe they're so criminal that no one even notices all the criminality. LPMT, you better not be being criminal out there. Oh, bunch of criminals. Crimming up the place. Bunch of criminals on Hermitcraft. Oh, is it? Is it like that? Is it like that, eh? Hey, this one's got a redstone block at the back. Boop. Right, now we've got to go up a couple of layers. Good thing I got this stuff in order. Actually, let's check it out. So, piston, observer, and then repeaters above, right? Let's go put in all of these bits first, which might be kind of tricky, actually. Ah! Double wrong. I am the Doctor. Thank you so much for 45 months. Good to see you, my dude. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for resubbing. Hope you have a fantastic time with us today, my dude. You're going to sub on Monday, Money Day. I'm not sure if I'll be live on Monday. I usually stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I don't have a schedule. But I appreciate the gesture, my dude. Thank you. I think you're missing the context of Soundwave Hope. Yeah, I think there was very little context in that message, which is why I had fun with it. On LPMT, there are some rascals. I don't doubt it. I bet there's some rascals on there. Oh my goodness me. Wonder where they get that from. Rascals, love it. Okay, where can I put this thing? Like, I can do that, but then... Can I? Oh my god, I'm so clever. Right. So, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. Got it. Got it. Eric Clark, thank you ever so much for 3 months of support. Appreciate you. How you doing? Thanks for the resub. Do I dare try to explain this criminal news, or is he well aware? I'm well aware that there's a lot of hysteria in the Minecraft community. And just the fact that a Minecraft server might be criminal just sounds a little bit dramatized to my ears. That's all I'm getting at. I mean, I used to follow some of the drama stuff a little more closely, let's say, and I just had a memory, like, there are some channels out there that just do nothing but make drama videos and really, like, bait. You know, every time Moyan coughs, they come out with some video about how, like, terrible this is for your rights, and, oh, it's a big conspiracy to destroy Java Edition. Do you want to know how long I've been playing Java Edition for? Over 15 years. Do you want to know how long Microsoft have been trying to destroy Java for? About 15 years. Ever since they brought it, they've been trying to destroy it, apparently. They're doing a pretty bad job of trying to destroy it. I mean, like, it's still at the heart of development. It's still getting updates. It's still free. It seems to be constantly improved upon. Like, you gotta realize that some of these people peddling drama are talking nonsense. They're looking for something that ain't there a lot of the time. Are they incentivized? Maybe. Maybe making videos incentivizes them. Okay, let's grab... But still no Minecraft 2.0. Right, and they're still honouring the agreement to keep the game free and not make Minecraft 2.0, which is what they agreed to when they brought the game. Notch did us all a big favour there, because otherwise I think we'd be on Minecraft 5 by now, with Microsoft at the helm. That's how badly they would have milked this cow. Well, it was a court case where they arrested someone and called private servers the black market of video games. Is that a statement that one person said? Like, who called it that? Some lawyer. Some lawyer called it that. Okay, some lawyer said that. There's a lot of lawyers, and they say a lot of things. So, have a rummage. I'm sure you'll find some other bangers as well. So apparently some dude from American Games Industry Association claims it's illegal. I have faith in some people that I follow when it comes to journalism and stories, and like if a certain someone I follow starts talking about one of these stories, I might pay more attention and go, oh, okay, perhaps this has some gravitas, but I don't know. Right now it doesn't sound particularly enticing. Shockingly, no, the ESA, what's the ESA? That's not Games Industry Association, it's something. It's saying Minecraft servers are considered a form of piracy by their standards and want to set a legalization that renders them in a way illegal. Right, so there's some sort of like legal movement going through the courts. Probably a group of lawyers backed by a corporation so they can reshape a section of gaming and make it more monetizable and profitable for them, right? Entertainment Software Association. So that's interesting though that they would go out and sort of like go to the courts and argue the legality of like someone else's software, because Minecraft is a sandbox, so on it you can do all sorts of things. Like on your server you can like we have on Hermitcraft, we have a mod to play music, right? If we play copyrighted music on this, like what does that mean? So like then in a court of law you might find the Record Industry Association go, oh, hang on a minute, that we're aware that quite a few people play custom music on these Minecraft servers. We think we can argue that's illegal and shut it down, and that'll make us more profitable, because profit seems to be the motive behind a lot of this stuff, right? Is it that kind of story? Entertainment Software Association is a US group, yeah. It's always in the USA. Not always, but dang, the legal system over there and the suing culture, it's wild. Jacket Fracket, thank you so much for 2 months. No, 29 months. 29. Congrats on the funny typo in the Twitch notification. Appreciate it, my dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. It took a minimal amount of effort to do that. Aha! I'm pressing the store away button and now they go to the shulker box. That's pretty cool, actually. Can I do it when I'm hovering? No, so it has to be when it's in your hotbar. It'd be pretty cool if you could do it while you're hovering. That's a nice little feature. Just, I don't want to end up with my pickaxe in there again, basically. Is that too much to ask? How many are we on the server now? Is that sheep looking at me? Have I heard about the fender debacle? I think vaguely, yeah, I might do. Have I seen Obsession yet, or do I plan to? I went and saw it, actually. I went and saw it. That is a very highly rated horror movie on International Movie Database. I can't say that I warmed up to it that much, but I think I get why. Like it was one of those movies that just like gripped you all the way through, which I find quite rare in general, especially in something like horror. It was kind of awesome. There's a little bit of skepticism that I have about it. I can't exactly like put my finger on it, but I was definitely entertained, and I'm glad I went and saw it. Like, it was a real good cinema experience. Yeah, you know, it's got something going for it, right? It's kind of just politicians looking at the Stop Killing Games movement and saying some absolute nonsense because they don't have real strings in the game. Kind of like a manager who doesn't listen to a story but makes us say. Okay. Did Microsoft speak at the hearing? Were they in favor or not? You like that Obsession was a simple story but done effectively. Kind of shows a 2D story can be done well under a competent writer. Yeah, I guess so. There's one scene in it that like I feel like I will never forget. And it's weird because it's kind of cheap, but it was just done so well. Like, you know to expect the unexpected sometimes, right? Yet there's one moment in it where I was just like, oh my god, like, what have you done? That's wild. It really well manages, like, being sort of over the top and ridiculous without feeling deliberately over the top and ridiculous, you know? It's, yeah, the more I think about it, it's got its merits. Like, it really does do some things rather well. I think my only qualm with it is I probably won't watch it again. It didn't really feel like a movie where you're going to get more each time you watch it. I could be mistaken. Maybe that's my gripe with it. Like, something about great movies is that you're like, I'm going to see that again, right? But there are movies that are great, but you only need to see it once. Maybe it's one of those. I'm not sure. Like, all respect to the movie, though. It was awesome. Really entertaining. Kind of wild to see a horror movie hold up an 8 on International Movie Database. That's rare. Like, I always say for horror movies, like, add a 1. If you're really into it, add 1.5. And then, you know, if you're a horror buff, that's how you work with that. Because everyone votes down horror movies on International Movie Database. Like, they just don't get no love over there. Was it in the car? Yeah, it absolutely was in the car. You've seen it 3 times. Oh, awesome. Well, enjoy the heck out of it then. I miss being into something so much that I would just watch it over and over again. Like, that's what kids do. You have it when you're young, and then, I don't know what happens, you get older and you don't do that enough. That being said, like, I've been rewatching some classic Ali G clips. Every now and then I'll do that, you know. There are other things you can rewatch. Like, Ali G is so good. His interview with Trump came up on a podcast that I was listening to, and like, I went to the video, and basically Trump just smelled him straight away and was like, this guy's nonsense, I'm out of here. And like, people were still trying to like rationalize in the comments, like, oh, he got him. It's like, no, he didn't. Look, I get you don't like this guy, but he clearly just had the wits to smell him straight away, you know. And it's funny to watch. It's funny to watch like Ali G go up against someone and them actually just not buy it, because he, like, most of the stuff you see, he absolutely gets people. That's what's so great about it. If you've never seen Ali G, please do yourself a favor and watch some of his interviews with people. If you don't understand what's funny about it, it's about how him as an ignorant character will bring out other characteristics in other people. Like, they show a judgmental side or a lack of compassion, or, you know, they look down at him for some reason. It's really powerful. It's really clever stuff. And it just looks like absolute potty humor. Not quite potty humor, but, you know, like, it just doesn't look deep at first. It's the same thing with South Park. Like, South Park kind of like disguises really intelligent critiques and commentary with potty humor. There's quite a bit of overlap there, and they're from the same sort of era too. So, you think this last month was a spectacular month for movies in general, but horror-wise, Backrooms and Obsession absolutely knocked it out of the park. I haven't seen Backrooms. Felt like all you did was go to the cinema for 2 weeks. I got a little discount code for the local cinema, and I love it. I love sitting in a cinema and turning off the brain, but then I have a problem with the fact that if I do this too much, it feels like I'm putting too much time into not being productive. But productivity isn't everything, right? So there are some seriously great movies coming out. We got the guy who directed Nosferatu has got this new movie Werewolf that looks, oh my god, the cinematography. Oh my god, does it look like something I want to see? And then there's June 3, and we got a new why can't I just give me 10 seconds and it will come to me. Christopher Nolan. Got a new Christopher Nolan movie. So I think I'm gonna sign up for this discount, and then if I go every other week, I will be getting cheaper cinema tickets. So I think I'm gonna do that. Like once summer's over, I'm gonna sign up and I'm gonna really enjoy the winter season. I hope there's more movies that get in there. I don't really want to be going and watching duds, you know, like, or mediocre. I tend to try and save it for special movies. So hopefully we'll have a good calendar at the end of the year. If you're in the UK and you live near a Cineworld, their unlimited subscription gives you free access to any and all 2D movies for only a tenner a month. Oh, let me make a note of that, because that's interesting. The thing I was looking at, I thought was just like a general pass. Is that like a specific tier that they do where it's like, by 2D, I'm assuming you're meaning you can't use it for the IMAX, right? Because I don't care about the IMAX, like. Yeah. I'll look into that. Werewolf sounds good. So, like, if you've known me for a while, you'll probably know that I have a very, like, creative imagination, even for stuff that I don't do. So, like, I watch movies and think about how they could be different or what I would do. And I'm very aware that it's very easy to have ideas. It's very different to become skilled and be able to execute on those ideas and make things happen. Do you know what I mean? Right? But, like, there's this part of me that's been watching horror movies for a long time and just thinking, why can't we get like the cinematography of a creepy old black and white photo? Why has no one like figured that out? That's always been a curiosity of mine. Like, why? Oh, wait a minute, I got to do it this way around. There we go. Right, we can start to put some of this stuff into the backpack, the shulker box even. So I've been wondering, like, why hasn't anyone done that? Like, I like black metal, and if you go look at like Dark Throne album covers, go look at the Black Trinity. Like, these are like they're definitely cheesy and you can laugh at them, but they're kind of terrifying as well. And I've often wondered, like, I wonder if you can bring that to life on the screen. And this movie, Nosferatu did it, and now this werewolf one looks like it's going to do it too. It feels like it's bringing some of that to life. Like that creepiness that a black and white photo can give you. This guy's figuring out how to put it on the big screen and animate it, and it just looks so exciting. I cannot wait to see it. You loved Nosferatu visually, and the atmosphere you found it fell a bit flat story-wise. I agree. I think the story did. You know, the story wasn't the most compelling thing, was it? But everything else around the story was just incredible. That's a fair point. The story isn't the strongest thing. You're going to remember that movie for its cinematography. But I'm okay with that. That might be the case with Werewolf as well. And I'd be okay with that. Not every movie has to get every dimension perfect, right? Like, we can have variety. We can have all sorts of different things. You haven't seen the recent Nosferatu? Shadow of the Vampire was a good take on that, though. If you ever get the opportunity to see Nosferatu in the cinema, oh my god, take it. But I don't know if they're going to do reruns of that. Maybe actually with Werewolf, they might. They might do some as like a lead up to it. Because I think I'd be tempted to watch that one again in the cinema if I could. Such a good one. Used to read and watch all the horror, and then you had kids. So did having kids turn you off the horror, or is it more like I can't expose them to that, so I can't enjoy it because they're always around? And those damn kids, oh, they always need something. They're always around. Get a job. Go to the coal mine. Jeez, lazy. Oh, feed me. Feed me. Change my diaper. Lazy. Just lazy babies are, aren't they? Always crying, always whining. Jeez, they need to sort it out. Kids too yearn for the mines. Yeah, they yearn for the mines. Oh, that's funny. I think part of the reason I went back a moment ago was to get a torch, and then I kind of forgot that I went back to get a torch. So we're just doing this with one torch. We're old school. I think even when we were old school, we didn't do things with one torch. So I'm just crazy like that. Your dad just walked in and said, "Whoever I'm watching is extremely correct." What about kids? Get a job. I'm joking. I'm joking. Kids are scary though. Horror hits different after kids. Interesting. In what way? Tell me more. I'd love to know. For me, like horror just lost its charm because I watched so much of it. Like I used to genuinely be terrified of it, and then it's like, I don't know, just kind of became numb to it for a long time. Like seriously, there was a period, like probably overlapping with the beginning of my Minecraft career, where I just watched absolutely everything horror. I would go down rabbit holes. I ended up watching like Japanese horror that's filmed on shaky hand cam, you know, like just all kinds of weird stuff. And then eventually I just kind of lost interest. It's like my soul got deeper and I felt everything. I can't watch some commercials now. I think I understand. I used to play violent video games like Call of Duty, then I stopped doing those things because I think it was Henry Rollins just kind of made me aware of like being desensitized to violence and stuff. And then some years went by and I watched like a violent film after I hadn't seen it for ages, and I felt like these wells of, I don't know, like empathy and horror, and I got all emotional, and I just kind of realized like, whoa, I used to watch this stuff for entertainment because I played these violent video games, and then I stopped, and then it was like all of a sudden now like my compassion for humanity and my empathy is like front and center when I watch these things. It's like now it's difficult to watch it. It's kind of wild to go through that. Can't watch violent films anymore. I just don't need that in my life. The world is awful enough already, says Overstrew. Yeah, I feel somewhat similar. Like, yeah, those sort of movies that revel in darkness can be a little bit more difficult to enjoy these days. What I want to do is, like, just be able to shimmy it into the shulker box through the GUI here. That would be sweet. But we got this, and this is good. It's very good. I think Cubfan is nearby. I wonder if he's looking. I wonder if he's looking for me. I don't know. Maybe he's not that nearby. The facebar can be deceiving. That motion, unless he's flying, I think Cub is nearby. That's what I think. But it can be deceiving. Can be. I'm pretty sure he's just like right near here.
Hello, X.
See? Hi, Cub. I had a theory that you were here.
Ah, you're clearing some stone out, I see.
Yeah, man, I'm building the master music machine. MMM, aka Eminem.
Can you hear me?
I'm muted. I wasn't muted earlier. I don't know what happened there. Hey.
Howdy.
Hi.
I was wondering if you wanted to go play ISTLAM.
I do. I absolutely do. Do we have a third player or a fourth player?
I don't think, unless Ren or False are playing, I don't think we do.
Okay, because I get the impression that playing in groups is the best way to play. But I'll play a two-player game with you if you want.
Yeah, I just want to get a round in because I got a tournament match coming up.
Do you want to like practice and get the feel for the game and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I haven't played in a couple of months, so I need to refresh.
Oh wow, did you play Was it that original game with B-dubs that ZF did, or did you play some sort of testing?
I played in like beta. Yeah.
Wow.
Way long time ago.
Oh,
like months ago.
was that IRL in the in all the charity stuff?
That was not IRL. This
Oh,
was
okay.
actually just before the charity stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It would have been fun to play IRL though. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the impression he had done some IRL stuff.
What are you making here, X?
This is the Master Music Machine, aka MMM, aka Eminem, aka Slim Shady.
Nice.
That's how I got there.
That's cool.
Yeah, dude, it's like I actually don't know how much percent complete it is, but I just keep chipping away at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's slowly getting there.
And a bunch of different like levels and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at where the quartz pillars are, there's 4 walls.
Mm-hmm.
So one is going to be 4 melody tracks. Another is going to be percussion. Then there's going to be chords, and then there's going to be samples. And those are like the 4 elements, and they all play in sync. And you listen to it in this central area down here, where you can see there's note blocks on the sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all the redstone on the outside kind of feeds back into the central area to play the music to you.
Nice.
But
cool.
It's a mega project, man. It's I don't know how many hours I've been down here. It's wild.
Mm-hmm. Whoop, my bad.
That's all right. Should we get in a? Should we go in open streaming?
Yeah.
There we go. Sweet. Are you streaming?
Not right now.
Okay.
Not right now.
All right, let's go. Which I think it's this way.
Okay.
Yes, it is. I don't know how I know that, but like when you spend enough time down in there, you just you get this feel for what direction to go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my game is super laggy. Whenever I use like Madoka and I like leave the area, all of a sudden my frames just go awful.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with it.
Probably some rendering, obscure rendering.
Yeah, I've noticed issues with Bobby as well. So like it could be a bunch of things. You just kind of got to wait for the mods to update and like find the bugs slowly.
Sure. Yeah. So have you played this, X?
Yeah, man. I've played 2 games and I feel like I've got like a real feel for it, if you know what I mean.
Nice.
So I can walk us through a game.
Joe Hill's scoring pen.
Yes. He's got 1 point.
Have some people already scored, then, I guess?
Yeah, me, Joe, and False have earned points.
Oh, let's go. That's big.
I gotta do something about this 20 FPS. I don't know. Mate, hang on. I'll do a quick relog. I can relog. That's not an issue. Yeah. Maybe? I think it... Oh, God. Now it's back down to 20. Okay. Destroy the channel. I don't think that really works, so I'm going to do render distance next.
Okay.
Let's go down to about 32. It looks like it might be tolerable.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so should we just jump in and play?
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Okay. So it's ready to play. I'll let you go first. You get to take 5 cards over there.
Okay.
Then I get to take 5 cards. And then your turn first. When you... Oh, by the way, it's a good idea to clear your hotbar and put food in your offhand.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Yep. There we go.
So when it's your go... Do I need to run through all the different cards with you, or are we just going to play?
No, I think I know the cards.
Okay.
And there's like... You can only play 1 specialty card, right?
Let's go do it real quick.
Cards.
I think it just makes more sense, especially for people watching as well. They'll get a little bit of a better idea that way. So we got the sheep over here. You can put them in a pen when you've got a matching pair, or if you have a paint modifier, you can see the paintbrush. That allows you to put 2 different colors together. Then you've got the Frankensheep modifier. You can put a butt and a butt together or a head and a head.
Yep.
And if you have a butt and a butt in your field, it stops another player from using wheat at the top, and a head stops the other player from using the wolf. So the wheat lures a sheep to your pen, the wolf just destroys the sheep, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have the yoink card below the wolf. That allows you to yoink cards from another player. Then you got the reflip, which allows you to force them to reflip the coin if you're not happy with the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And then those cards that you can only use one per turn are down here at the bottom. So you got lure 2 sheep, remove 2, and all of them rely on flipping the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then there's stuff that you can do at any point in time. Like, if someone's got like a Frankensheep in their pen, and you have like the other half of the sheep, you can go put it in, and you get to take the modifier and the other half of the sheep and put it back into your hand. That works the same as the paint as well. So that I think that's kind of most of it.
Yeah, it has to be like the same color though, right? Unless it's a rainbow half, right?
That's correct. Or you've got a paint modifier, or you're using the Frankensheep.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. By the way, there's some pillagers. We've got visitors.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I could have swore I saw one.
I thought I heard one. Maybe
Dude, there was a leader like right here a second ago.
not. It moved on.
Pretty fast. Oh, wait, that's a cow. Dude, where the heck did that guy go?
They're patrolling.
They
Down
are.
villagers. I think.
Well, they're not going to bother us. Okay.
All right, we ready to play?
Yeah, so you go first. You get to draw a card.
Okay. I will draw one. Okay. And let's see. I can. I guess I'll just pick a color.
Yeah, I'm going to pick pink.
We could ask Gem and Skids if they want to play before we start.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Might be good to get another couple people in. Not sure if they'd be interested or not.
Let's see, let's see.
ISTLAM.
ISTLAM.
Xisuma, I had a shower thought the other day.
Was it in the shower?
It was not in the shower, but it was a shower thought about this game in particular.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
Go on.
So I was thinking, ISTLAM could be It's a Lamb. Like It's a Lamb, L-A-M-B.
Oh.
If instead of is that sheep looking at me, it was is that sheep actually looking at my butt?
Oh. ISTLAM. What does that mean then? Wait, where is the actual sheep looking at us in the card game? Because if you were completely outside the whole knowledge of like Zed and the history of the game, you might like be playing this card game with friends and then go, at what point is the sheep looking at me about this game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not entirely obvious.
No, it's not. It's not.
The coin flip. Oh, the coin flip is how he's kept it in the game. That's well done, chat. Yeah. So the coin flip up here is kind of magic and keeps it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, false replied.
Is Gem in? Gem's in. She's playing. Where's she at? Is she here? She's not here.
Gem might not know where it is.
Send the chords.
Yeah, right. So basically we got to reset this, and the only way I know how to reset it is to actually like draw every single card and then put them all in the Discord pile. Hey, Gem's made it.
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah,
Gem.
the locator bar is pretty useless without that face bar mod.
Too right.
That's true. That's true.
There's literally no point otherwise.
Everyone's just like a color. You have to ask them what color they are, and they don't know.
Color.
Yeah, and you can't see your own color.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not default. Like, why don't they have that in vanilla?
Or like
I don't
put it
know.
on the tablet.
faces. Yeah. Hello,
Hey.
False.
It's like, yeah, it's a good point. It's like, yeah, the color
guys
could be on the
doing?
tab list.
Yeah, just
It's good.
why not?
Here, I'll put
Plus,
these
we're
in the
talking about how
Discord.
useless the locator bar is without the face bar mod.
Oh yeah, you need it.
Right, just so you know, we're resetting the game, and we don't know any other way to do it than draw all the cards. So
It's Slam.
Can't you just go in the
Wait.
back door?
Wait.
possibly,
what
but
do you
I don't
mean
want to
reset?
break. I don't want to break any redstone. Well, me and Cub started, and then we were like, let's get some more people to join us.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was gonna say, if we already know how that light does that. You putting them into the Discord there?
I am, yes.
Yeah, cool.
Gem, do you know how to play?
Yeah, I got to play in real life with Zed.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Do you need a refresher or anything?
Nah, it's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get going, yeah. And the cards say what they do, so it's a reminder.
Yeah, I think I got it. I played it like 5 or 6 times in real life.
Okay. Right. So. All right. All the
Oh, but you don't-
discard.
Are you not having sheep? You're growing carrots?
Guys, did we just see this? Did you guys see what just happened here?
That's
You didn't
legit.
see anything. Spoilers.
That's
oh
legit.
my gosh.
I know what you saw. Okay, so the bell rang, which I think means we can play again, right? Is that what Zed said yesterday?
The bell meant before that it had, what, only 9 cards left? If you click it and there's still more?
Yeah, I did that. Then I put all the cards back in, and then it rang again.
Okay, maybe it's reset.
All
I
right.
mean, if you check the discard box, it shouldn't have anything in it, right?
Yeah, there's nothing in there. Who was the last
No,
person?
in the door. Yeah, there's nothing in there, so that should be good.
Okay, sweet.
Ah,
Sorry.
Who
sorry,
was the
sorry.
last person to see
Oh,
a
I've locked
sheep
him in.
IRL?
oh.
No.
Okay, I'll let you out.
Thank
Yo,
Did I get it?
Alo Kado, thank you for the prime.
Last person to
Appreciate
see
it.
sheep
Thank you.
IRL.
Oh, I said Friday last time.
Anyone seen a sheep?
Really?
But I don't want to go first, so someone else go.
It's
Okay,
been
the
years
Brits
since
have
I've
a
seen
massive
sheep.
advantage here. Your country is
Yep.
filled with farms.
Wait,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Canada is as well, isn't it?
No, not sheep
No?
farms.
We don't have
Oh.
sheep in the U.S. anymore.
Not at the
You don't have
level that
sheep.
England is at.
They were banned in
What do you
1992.
mean?
Is
Oh,
this,
that's crazy.
is this a real thing?
Weirdly, I'm not surprised if that
Will
would
you
be.
guys
I have not
ever
seen one in a
believe
while.
Cub?
Though.
Right,
Might-
false.
Yeah,
You get
we
to
don't
go
have
first
sheep fields
again.
like you guys.
Draw 5 cards.
No, I don't want to go first. Someone else go first. I've been first both
All right,
times.
I will go first.
You go first.
Zuma, surely you've seen a sheep
All
recently.
right, I'm gonna hit the phone.
I was trying to figure out why how long ago the last time, but I don't think it's
I
been that
wouldn't
long.
know before that. Like, it's only because I saw them recently that I even
I
remember.
now
Is it
every
this?
time I see a sheep, thanks to this game, I'm gonna make a mental note, aren't I?
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to be like, oh, we have to play because I've seen one recently.
But normally you see
Oh.
a sheep in a field and you don't even think about it.
Well, I clicked it and I only got one.
That's because
card.
you clicked the 1 card button. You just got to click it 4
Oh.
more times.
Where's the 5 card? But okay,
It's
is it
over here,
there? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. You know what? I didn't ever. Yeah, I didn't ever see. That's fine. I'll just click this 5 times. My
Okay.
bad, guys. There you go.
Right, so everyone gets to pick a part of the court down there. Claim a color. I'll go purple.
I'll go yellow.
I'll do pink.
Cyan.
Wonderful. And then we go clockwise and I go first. So every turn we draw a card. And I think I'm gonna just change my strategy and not actually do anything on my first turn. So bah! that's the end of my turn.
I like that he's not here, but you're sticking to his rule.
I mean,
Wait. We have to. We have to.
It is.
You
It
have
is
to
a game.
bat
Though.
to end your
Do
turn.
you guys listen to those rules on these games?
Well, it's only actually the game
Absolutely.
itself, yeah.
If there's one
You listen
rule,
to the rules in the games, yes. That's how you play a game, Gem.
what is a
I don't
game
listen to
without
ones like
rules?
that.
Gem's no fun. No whimsy.
Yeah, I'm anti-fun, anti-whimsy.
Anti-whimsy.
It's
Alright,
going
is
around in my corner of
turn?
the server.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Wait. Which way are we
Or
going?
which way
Xisuma,
we
are you
go?
purple?
Clockwise.
Clockwise, so it's Cub falls.
Okay, it's my turn. All right, I'll draw a card.
Okay, you're purple this time. Okay.
And bah.
Oh, end of go straight away. Okay.
Okay, my go.
You guys all doing the same thing?
You got to.
Well,
play
surely
in the
does
game?
something.
Got to get in the spirit.
Well, what if you can't do anything? You can't.
I don't
you
mean the
can't-
bawing. I mean no sheep.
Eh.
You
Wow.
also have no sheep?
No. It's not that we don't have no sheep. It's just we're choosing not to play yet.
Oh well, Xuma's giving away his.
So you can't have more than 7 cards at once, right?
You
is
can't
the
end your
rule.
turn at more than
Right.
7. Yeah.
So we'll have to start playing cards at some point.
This is so weird. Okay, I'm
We're
gonna
all
play
waiting,
to the
Gem.
meta then and bah.
No one's
That-
playing the game.
That was such a spoken bah. I would never think that was a sheep. Okay, so I'm gonna Oh, actually, you know what? I'm
Go on,
gonna go
X.
put one down. I'm gonna go put one down.
The last turn you can skip
Is it?
because you'll have.
Oh
7,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I get you. You're counting my cards.
I'm counting. Oh, we did the same thing.
We have the same cards. Yeah.
There's a bot from Xisuma.
Or was it a sheep?
All right. That's a good point. All right, I'm gonna go play something here. I'm gonna play a blue sheep.
Oh, blue sheep.
And then bah.
Oh, that was good.
Got 2 sheepies out there.
Oh my goodness. What am I getting? Literally the worst.
The worst at drawing cards?
Meh.
Ooh, you're just gonna have 7 cards. Okay, I like
That was
it.
a very quick
I mean, I
bah
can
there.
have 7 cards.
That was it. I know that was a good. That
have
was a
more.
good bar. It was believable.
Good, because when I played last time, it wasn't. It wasn't.
You can't have more than 7 at the end of your turn though.
No.
Yeah.
The next time I have to play something.
Okay,
Kind
bar.
of scary, honestly.
Oh, back to me then.
Gem buzz. All right.
Interesting. I'm gonna go Frankensheep this thing. Why not?
Oh,
Ah,
that's a pretty one.
they look so normal
Aw.
together.
That one's
Cute.
immune to wolves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
immune
can
to
see both
wolves.
ways.
Bah!
Xuma's too good at this. I
Alright.
think he has a sheep in the room, actually. You just poke it when you need
He's
to make
been in
sound.
the fields. He's studying.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I
Oh look, we got watchers. I told you there was some around here, Cub.
Oh,
They're
Oh, I
watching.
see.
I've not got my
You're
bow
right.
on me, so
Oh.
don't mess with our
Ah.
sheep, guys.
Oh, do you have
really?
more than 7 cards in your hand? No, you don't, because you. Okay, yeah, cool.
I will do with this, but that means I have to place something. Oh wait, I don't know if there's a rule of not picking up one. I guess I have to. Okay, I've actually got playable hand. That's nice. We're playing Pebble Sheep.
Oh,
ah.
it's a
Oh,
classic.
yeah.
It's a classic.
Classic Purple Sheep.
Okay,
Gem,
here
what
I
cape
go.
is that? You have like a villager face.
Yeah, it's the Minecraft experience one.
Oh wow, I think I might have missed the news on that one.
It was in England. You could, or the one I went to was in
Oh, you
England.
know,
you could
I
go.
didn't go to that. I actually didn't realize it had a cape.
Bah.
Oh.
Ah, all right, back to me. Back to me.
Okay.
Back to me.
Yeah, it's called cape. It's a stupid zombie. What is the actual cape?
Mm.
It is
yeah,
a
it's
zombie villager, yeah.
It's like half zombie villager, half villager.
Wait, what's
Alright.
the one again? The creeper.
It's a golden.
It's
cape.
it's the 15-year anniversary one that like was anyone could
Ah,
get it
yeah,
super easy. I liked how it matched my new skin. Bah!
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it before.
Ooh, another bah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, Zuma does nothing.
Oh, but he's got two
Alright.
sheep. We've
What
only got
about
one,
two?
guys.
I'm not worried about him.
Nah.
Mm.
He's playing his sheep early.
It's a valid strategy.
Okay. All right, I'm going to play. I'm gonna play lure 2 sheep. Lure 2
Ooh.
sheep.
Oh.
Well, there's
I
only
wonder
one
what
person with
that
2
is.
sheep. Dang it!
I wonder who
Yeah,
it
but
could
you've,
be.
yeah, but you've got to.
Wait, wait.
You got to flip
You
the
gotta
coin.
flip.
You got to
So,
do heads or butts.
Isn't it that you have to call it and I flip it? Was what Zed
Yeah.
have to say. Yeah. So you call heads or butts,
Okay, I'm gonna call heads.
and then I do this.
Ooh, he thinks the sheep is
But
looking at him.
then,
Hey.
And it
wait,
is.
wait,
Let's go.
reflip.
Oh, what? Okay, okay.
Whoa,
Call it again,
okay,
call it
okay,
again.
I'm
That's
calling heads
crazy.
again.
Heads again. Dang it!
Yay! Woo!
What a useless card that was. I
Take
tried.
the-
That's okay, because he's used up all of his luck now.
Why-
It
take
kind
the
of looks
Frankie-
like that
next
if you could
time.
see my hand. Oh.
Frankie modifier as well. All right, I'm gonna put you here.
Oh, that just swung the
And-
game.
Franken modifier with. Was it the beige and the?
I did not play a
Right.
beige one. I don't recall
No,
playing
it was
beige.
magenta or like pink.
Oh, magenta,
whatever,
magenta,
Like hot
yeah.
pink. Yeah.
Magenta. All right, and then I'm also going to play Wolf.
Oh,
Not the wolf.
Cub's aggressive.
Who are you? My goodness, who are you wolfing?
Send one sheep to the Discord guard pile. I'm gonna target False's sheep, the purple sheep.
Whoa. Excuse me?
Send that to the Discord pile.
Well, that's rude. Poor guy.
It fits your color
What did
palette.
he do to you?
And then
Oh, that's right. Wolves
Bah.
discard them.
bah,
False.
Okay, it's alright.
False is distraught about her
Give me a
sheep that was
second.
just
My
murdered.
arm, I was having a little cry.
she needs a moment.
I need a moment, guys. Okay, let me have a think about this one. Who we got around here? Not too many sheep.
Staring at your ones, Cub.
That was a bat? Okay. I would like to wheat a cub sheep,
Oh, but which one?
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
which lures one sheep to my field, and obviously I'm gonna pick the Frankenstein one.
No, not the Frankenstein one. That was my favorite sheep.
Why are all of the item frames on this?
Oh, that's
field
because
so
Joe
sideways?
played there. He diagonaled everything.
Good lord.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
bat.
Right. Draw a card. And I can't really do anything, so that's me.
Okay. All right.
Wait, is that Gem's wheat though? Still there?
That's Gem's.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
that's
I
Gem's
think
weight.
it
Yeah.
was just thrown in the
Discard
Discord.
it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to. What to do here? What to do here? I'm gonna yoink 2 cards. I'm gonna yoink 2 cards from Gem.
Two
Oh.
cards?
Which two?
Isn't that one? Or
So
am I
the
crazy?
way we did this is that you put them in like in your hotbar
they're
and then
in
you
1,
call
2,
the
3, 4,
numbers.
5, 6.
Yeah, it's 2 cards. Let's do. It's 1 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Mm.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to.
Oh, reading chat right now is a delight. Go read chat if you haven't in a
Okay,
minute.
Okay. Oh. Okay. This is good, I think. I'm gonna chuck down this guy. ranking modifier. And
Oh, are you doing a wolf or a
which
wheat
one?
one?
Yeah, I was gonna say which one's the wheat one again? The two butts.
Butts. They can't eat.
The butts.
Wait a minute. How does that logic work then? They can't be
It
lured
protects all
because
the
they
sheep
can't
and
eat.
Wait, they can't be lured with wheat. They don't eat anything.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, they can't eat.
And the other one's got eyes in the back.
That's
of
in
the
my brain a
tails.
moment.
Oh, it's me. Oh, here I go.
Oh, they're really intently watching. Hang on.
They are.
Yeah, they've been quite polite. They're like, we'll attack you after the game. You know?
I will once again weep. False.
You can't.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
They can't. Don't eat anything.
All right. I'll weep you.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know why I suddenly thought I had a wolf.
Why were you going for me
That
anyway? I only had one
levels
sheep.
it up easier for you, yeah.
That's crazy. Why did I get
I don't
talked in
know.
this game? It's crazy. I don't know.
For fun. Bah.
For fun. I'm not finding it fun.
Ooh.
poor sheep isn't finding it
False.
fun.
I'm sorry.
You killing it?
I've
Oh.
completed your
Oh,
sheep.
You're doing
That's
the
okay.
complete a sheep thing.
Wait,
I'll take that.
wait.
You get the
You take the
Frankenstein,
Franken
I'm pretty
modifier.
sure.
Don't I? Yeah, I take it to my. I take
Yeah,
it to my
yeah,
side.
you-
Yes.
Yeah, you take it.
Oh, wait. No.
But you've got to leave the complete sheep.
No, you've got to leave the complete orange sheep. You only take the Franken modifier.
You take the half. that you-
Right, that something
off
felt
in the
wrong when I did
Frankenstein.
that. Like
Yeah,
it was
they-
like, hang on a second, this isn't quite how this works. I guess that's not the worst thing ever because
Oh, it's the wrong one, X. Wrong corner.
You don't have
That's
to
cub.
place that.
It's
unless
giving
you want to tag
you,
anyone.
you could have kept quiet. I'm used to playing in this one. Dang it. Okay. I just need to check the field. Okay. Right, I'm gonna go put these two together then. And that
That's
will
the-
be
no,
my.
It needs to be 2 heads or 2 butts.
Dang it! I'm useless. Okay.
No, you're not. Oh, no, he is protected from 2 wheat protect. Oh, no, just 1 now.
Okay.
Wait, people used another wheat, didn't they? Yeah.
I made so many mistakes on that turn. Didn't
Yeah,
know what I
don't
was
worry, me
doing.
too.
Tried to do the wrong
It's
thing in
hard
the
to
wrong pen.
remember.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay. I'm on to. Is this beige? This is beige.
Oh
Okay.
no!
I get this guy.
You only get the
This guy up.
modifier though. That's okay.
And then I'm gonna play a white sheep here.
Ooh.
Thanks for
Pick this
completing my
up.
little guy.
And then I'll do
Where's my wolf
hang on.
protection?
green sheep head. And
We haven't seen
I'll
any
do-
paint brushes yet.
Chat, you are commenting about my bars. It is
I don't
amusing
have
me.
one.
I got fire bars,
not
yo!
you, not
Oh my
you, not
goodness.
you.
Fire bars.
Where's the
bright
there's
sheep.
this guy. This Franken sheep. And I'll do this Franken sheep.
My goodness.
It's a
Goodness.
monstrosity.
Protected from wheat and wolf? That's
Protected
crazy.
from everything.
And I'll do
except
this
getting
guy as well.
swapped.
Oh, he's pulling away.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm gonna
Cubs just-
buy.
All right, false.
Okay,
Kill him.
okay. Okay, well,
No.
if people stop attacking me, you know.
People have been waiting. People been stocking up cards. I know. Waiting for the perfect moment.
Okay, right.
It's you, isn't it?
I got a card in my hand that I've been ignoring.
Oh, God.
You'll
do this
regret
first.
reminding me of it, Cub.
Darn it.
And now someone can use wheat. If they so wish, over there.
At least make him whole. Oh my god, it's wrong.
Is
so
he not-
wrong.
What do you mean?
You
He was
gotta put him the
upside
right
down.
way.
I did
Yeah.
upside down guy. It's fine.
They're not going to be facing the same way in the
Zuma's
field, are
only
they? That's
guy's
he
upside
needs
down.
to be looking at me. It's
Oh,
very
well,
important.
No, that's what the
That's
coin
the-
flip's for. And
that's
it
the name
wasn't.
of the game.
Cub. Right, Oh,
What are you doing to
guess.
me, false? You're looking at my guys.
Well, I can't see. I'm having to, like, you know. Hold up. I've got options. Let me see. So I'm gonna do.
Gem, I feel like the pillagers are all watching you. Oh no,
are
no,
my
maybe they're
people.
watching fools. I don't know. No, they're watching
Well,
you.
watching whoever's playing. Franken.
Oh,
Oh,
murder!
now you've
Franken
triggered
sheep.
him.
Murder in the crowd. Oh, they're gonna shoot
Oh
up
my
some item
goodness.
frames. You know it.
They're ruining my round. What the heck? Get out of here, guys. Don't.
Nah, they're
Well,
fine.
careful of the frames. Right.
No
Blimey,
more.
do I get
audience.
a? Okay. Can I do anything else? Bet.
Okay. I'll draw a card. I'm gonna complete False's shape.
Thank you.
And then I'm gonna complete Cub shape.
Thank you.
Lots of complete sheet.
Lots
You
of
love to
complete
see it.
shape. And I'll give myself. Oh my god!
We
these
gotta
item
complete the
frames.
sheep, guys. That is the goal.
We gotta have a talk with Joe about this.
Yeah, we can't have him do that again. That's yeah.
There we go. Bah.
Okay. Have we had the bell yet?
There it is.
Oh.
No, you summoned it.
Oh, right
This
then.
is 9
Wow,
cards
right on
left.
time.
Yep.
All right, Cub.
What's the bell mean?
There's only 9 cards left.
It's
Okay.
you. It's you or
I'm not
Gem.
familiar with the redstone. I've only played real.
Who's it gonna be? You or
Wait.
Gem?
What?
Wait,
It's
You-
gonna be
Cub,
me.
It's gonna be okay. Cub, I yoink 2 cards from you.
Oh, you're
Okay.
winking. Oh, sorry.
I only got 2 cards, so you get both.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. Oh, this is good. This is good. Okay. Okay. Then I'm
Oh.
so Gem. You know, I picked on Cub. Now I'm equal. I pick on you. We're gonna
Half 2
halve
sheep.
2 sheep from
What
Gem's.
does that mean?
It means they get discarded, I believe. Let's check the
It'll say on the
tooltip.
card if they get discarded. I think they maybe go to your hand.
Oh, to my
but basically you
hand.
take
Even
2
better.
You can take
Oh
a
my
butt
gosh.
from one sheep
I
and then a butt
knew
from
it.
another, or mix match
Xisuma's
whatever.
been stalling the whole game, and now he's coming in and swinging.
I
So you
am.
get one half of 2 sheep and the other half gets discarded, or
No, you get to pick your own
I
sheep
get the
back
other
if they're half.
half.
Yeah.
okay?
So one thing though I will say is these special cards, these yellow ones, you
Mhm.
can't have them in your hand at the end because it's -3 points or something. I don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you do have to use them. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna
Red
pick butts.
Butts. It's not
Always
looking at
butts.
you. Okay.
Ah, not a problem.
Oh.
Not a problem. Because I'm gonna reflip.
Oh, look.
Oh my goodness, he's had
Oh,
both free
it's gonna be
flips.
butts
Okay,
this time.
Call it again. Butts.
Yeah!
Butts.
Woo!
All right, go pick your halves.
Nice. I'll just. Well, if I take this one, I get the Franken modifier. So. Sorry.
Wait, you get one
no, no.
half.
You have to leave one
Oh.
half for
Okay.
Jen.
Okay. What happens if you got a Franken modifier then?
No, you take that one. You can take
take-
that one. You can take the Franken modifier, I think.
Right. Oh
Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not half
Sorry,
right.
I
You just need
remember.
to leave
Okay.
One part of the yellow one. Yeah. you just need to
So
leave one part of the
right,
yellow
so I
one.
take that and you take the other
Yeah,
bits.
yeah.
Got it.
That's one.
Got it.
It
Sorry.
just goes back to Jen's
Sorry for
hand.
being so slow. Then I guess I want to use paint modifier because I can combine a head and a butt. Uh-huh. Like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Franken. So 2 heads keep away the wolf, right? Nice.
Right.
Brrr.
Oh my
Alright.
gosh, that was a deep one.
That was a deep sheep.
Yeah.
That was a big sheep.
All right, I'm gonna.
Really?
Yep.
Nothing. Okay.
Oh, by the way, Cub,
Uh,
how many cards do you have in your hand?
I only got 1.
So when you have less than 3, you're supposed to draw
Oh.
up to 3.
Oh, are you really?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you click it twice and carry on your do your round again.
All right, all right. So I can actually play, probably.
Yeah, at the start you need 3 cards. At the end you can't have more than 7.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to. You know what? I'm gonna again anyway.
Oh. Well, we're almost at the last round, so yeah. Gotta use
Very
your stuff.
close.
Right, okay, my go. Okay. Let me have a look. Bah.
A voice pack with
Really?
my
Wow,
bar
okay.
sounds.
Yeah.
That is such a funny idea.
Okay, I'm going to.
I like it.
Cub's not doing anything. I'm not gonna do anything, you know?
I'm gonna recover 1 sheep at Cub.
Not my precious flock of sheep
So.
being reduced again.
No, recover is from the discard pile.
Oh, really?
So you
From
get to go in the discard room with that
Oh, that's
iron door
right,
yeah.
is
Oh, and
and
I get to
pick
put
out
it
any
here.
sheep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have to flip though?
Fun.
You still have to flip the
Do I-
coin, though, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
Those
really?
ones I think are all flip. Yeah.
Flip it
You
at
just-
who though? Just nobody
Uh,
gets the.
You know what? Yeah, you do flip it at someone else because they get to then get the sheep instead.
Okay, Cub then.
All right.
Wait, the cub, the guy that's already got 4 sheep, you want to go give him another sheep, potentially.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
Mhm,
I'm gonna say
okay.
butts. I'm gonna say
I see what's
butts.
happening here.
Oh!
Let's
Go get a sheep cub.
go. All right, I'm gonna go get.
I think technically it should have
wait,
been
Cup wasn't meant
flipped the other way around, but
Okay.
same outcome,
Yeah,
I
Cup
guess.
shouldn't have called it,
I
but
mean,
okay.
same
I
outcome.
think it's too late. I already got the sheep.
It's
You
too
already got the
late.
sheep. Okay. I
Did
think
you just
I
get one
think-
card? One card
This
or
is
2
rigged,
cards?
yeah.
You get 2. You get
One
to
for
put.
the
You
general
basically get to
Sierra.
put a sheep back on your board, but on your
Okay.
turn, of course. On your turn.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I get to keep going now. I just wanted to use that. I'm gonna complete your sheep.
Oh, thank you. A complete
cool.
sheep worth more points at the end than like Franken sheep. Is that a thing?
Don't think so.
No, the only one worth more points is a rainbow sheep.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen. Oh, someone's holding on to them all game, aren't they?
Oh my goodness, what's happening?
Someone's holding on to the rainbow sheep all game long. Maybe it's me.
It might be you.
Okay. Ba.
Okay.
I think it's a robot sheep.
Oh, right. So wheat, I can lure 1 sheep into my field of my choosing, right? I'm gonna lure that Franken sheep in because then no.
Yeah, you
Well,
can lure it.
I
yes,
can.
actually,
I guess it protects me from a wolf.
Is no one
Mhm.
focused on Cub right now who's currently
Oh,
winning?
so, thank you, False. Cub.
Well, Gem also is
Sorry,
ignoring
I forgot
Cub,
about
so I
that.
don't
We
know
got
what
we got to
Cub's
stop
done.
Cub. So
No.
it's
I mean, it's an
it's
option, is
happening.
all I'm saying.
Oh my.
The Franken sheep wasn't a bad one because you'd also have got, whatever.
Ah! That's my turn.
All right. Discard this one. All right. I'm gonna play a purple sheep.
Dang.
Oh, I just replaced the sheep straight away. See what I mean? He would have had 5.
And then I'm going to remove 2 sheep from Xisuma.
Dun, dun,
How could you?
If I get-
Imagine he did it false.
Xisuma, what's it gonna be? What's it
So
gonna be?
so
Oh
you
my
have to call it
goodness.
and I have to flip it.
Okay, I'm calling butts.
Come on. Come on. Yeah! Woo!
Oh.
So now I remove 2 sheep from you. Oh my
correct.
goodness me. The
And they get
swings.
this discard, right?
Yeah, they're discarded.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they're
discarded.
discarded. Okay.
Remove, yeah. That's the difference between remove and law, I guess, right?
Okay, and then I'm gonna play Rainbow Head and then
Oh.
Sheep Butt.
Oh.
And then ba.
Oh, I thought you had double rainbow. Whoa, double rainbow.
Okay, is it my go? Okay.
Double rainbow. all
Wait,
the
how many
way.
cards we got left? See? Oh,
I think
interesting.
it's almost out.
How many cards have people got in their hands, by the way?
I do not have to divulge this information.
Are you sure? But what if I want to yoink your entire hand, Xisuma?
Oh no.
Wow.
No, wait, let me decide. Who do I want to? No, I'm gonna yoink the. Yeah, you know what, Xisuma, I am gonna yoink your hand. But let me
Wow.
Fair enough.
go with heads.
Oh, there it is. Well done.
Nice.
Well done.
Throw me
surprised
the
he hasn't got a
cards.
reflip.
Thank you, thank you.
No, I'm out. I
Wow.
think there's 2 of them and they've both been played by me.
Mm-hmm.
By you.
Right, okay. Let me think here, because we've got a couple
We
different
must stop
options.
Xisuma. Or Gem.
Well,
Gem
you
might
two
have
keep
something.
trading.
Well,
Well, we have the
I'm
same
in the
amount of
lead.
stuff.
I'm in the lead somehow.
Yeah, Xisuma's winning. Pulse has got the
Yeah.
Giving
rainbow.
Cub
I
every
know
bit
it.
of help I can, and Xuma's still ahead.
Fool's got my cards and knows that I had a
Thank
move up
you.
my sleeve that I
Stealing
didn't
the
use.
rainbow sheep.
Otherwise, I'd have one more sheep.
Let me cook real quick, guys. Let me cook real quick.
Well, I have a lovely ombre-colored sheeps.
It's 4 free, free, free.
Fine sheep. Okay, hold up.
It's
Have I got any
almost
other
a football
options? Let's see.
formation.
Nobody else has a Franken sheep out.
What am I not supposed to tell them? What am I missing here?
I'm gonna quickly do this. Haha!
Ah,
Oh.
No, the sheep died.
it's a tie.
We're tied.
Wait, it's not finished yet, though. We
No,
have
it's
to
not.
ballot,
It's
the-
true. It's not.
Okay, hold up.
That's
Okay,
crazy
somebody
close.
could- Somebody could have a. It's a.
Let me have
It's
one
a
more
sheep
look.
Okami coin too, or a card.
Oh,
but-
there's still one more of those to be played, right?
Bat.
Gem.
Oh, I forgot it's me.
Oh, there's the poop.
There's the poop.
Does that mean
Oh,
last card, or?
You go again, and then who started? We basically will get one more go, except for the person that did that, which is you, Joe. I
So-
think.
started.
so I think no. I think if that's the last card, then Gem gets to play, and then we all have one more turn, including Gem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The gem technique is the only person that has
So
two
I get
more goes.
one
We'll
more
have
turn
one.
after this turn.
Yeah, if that's the last card.
Okay, I'll just buy then.
Was that it? Are we gonna put some welly
It's
into
your
it? No.
Bye.
Oh.
Aw.
So yeah, that was the last card. So you get to go again, Gem. I have no cards, so
No,
meh.
it's your. Oh, you have no cards. Oh,
No
and then
cards.
I got
you
no
took
cards either.
Someone took
Bye.
them.
Oh,
It just
Crazy,
falls
that.
on me.
okay. Well, I'm gonna have to play the only thing I can play.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
The 4th point.
What do you mean? There it is.
That's the winning
You mean
point.
this is where it
Whoa!
Holy.
There.
Crazy.
Holy
What?
smokes!
is. Yeah, watch Gem like.
Did you
drops
have that
on
the
you
whole
right
time?
now.
Oh my
There.
goodness me.
Did you wait? Did you just bar as well?
God.
Oh, it's
You
Gem.
done? Where's Gem?
I was verifying your ba.
Okay.
Oh, there might
verify,
be
yeah.
a twist in the tail.
Oh.
No,
So that's
there's no
six
twist. I just
points.
have
You
this.
need 3.
Yeah.
And that brings you
nice,
up to
Gem.
5. Oh,
Woo.
so close. What a crazy game that was.
GG.
Dude, this is crazy.
GG.
Okay.
Awesome.
3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6
Woo.
points. Then there's 5 points for Gem, 3
Congratulations.
points for Xisuma, and 3 points for Cubban.
Mm-hmm.
The rainbow ones are
Congrats.
2 points each. Yeah.
Oh, I think
Congrats,
I think
False.
my game and stream is about to crash.
Thank you,
Oh, my
thank
computer's
you.
crashing. Great.
Oh no! Don't.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
no.
Everything's frozen. Last time it did this, somehow the stream kept going. And now I can't hear them. I don't know if they can hear me, people. I don't know if you can hear me. It did it again. I don't know why it does this. I think I'm going to be okay. My guess is that I'm going to still be live. I'm just... Oh my god, it's doing some absolutely funky stuff now. Music's still playing. I don't know what it's doing. I don't like the look of what it's doing. Because last time it all came back. And there's a noise in me and I can't read it. Now all I have on my screen is some white rectangles that are like cropped. And then on the main screen, it's like cropped in the middle. This looks so bad. Whoa! Whoa! Something came back. Oh, interesting. Okay, it looks really dodgy. All my windows have like the Windows 7 look. Right, and only stuff on one monitor is appearing. Oh, Windows, you suck so much. I don't have a mouse. I don't have a mouse. How can I get stuff to work? Oh, that was probably a very bad idea. Right, I would like to shut down without stuff breaking, and I don't think there's enough going on here to figure out how to do that. Did the game crash? Probably. Let's stop the music. Let's close that. I'm just going to close everything like a little bit at a time. Basically, this is the end of the stream, people. I'm just trying to safely shut down my computer, and it doesn't look like I've got much hope in hell figuring out how to do that. So, I can type into this chat. I can actually chat to all of you. No, I can't because it's not logged in. Never mind. So I can't... Oh, wow, now something popped up on this screen. Unbelievable. I can stop the stream. Well, that's it, people. I can't do a raid because my computer is an absolute tizzy. That's what it's in. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'll see you sometime soon. I've got computer issues to fix. Bye-bye. And it didn't work. It looks like it would work. Oh, that should totally work. Ah, gotta press spacebar.